minutes and we will be in the Jannah. Few minutes and we will be in the Jannah. Yes. Sahih mawquf. Marfu'. But this, what is Sahih mawquf? Sahih mawquf is the isnad is continuous up to the Sahabi. Up to the Sahabi. It is continuous. So it is, yes, mawquf, and it is Sahih. That means all the, even we check the isnad for the mawquf as well. So all the conditions should be fulfilled regarding the mawquf. All the narrators should be reliable narrators. So then we say mawquf and it is authentic. Are you following? Because the isnad is continuous up to the companion. Now, sorry? I say Ahmad reports that Tariq ibn Shahab narrated that Allah's messenger. Tariq ibn Shahab is not a Sahabi. So there is a gap between him and the Prophet. So he heard him from, actually he heard him from Salman. So he heard him from Salman. It's not mentioned there in this isnad. So the isnad is mawquf upon the Sahabi. Now, if we have a hadith that the Sahabi says something, if this thing what he said is about the Akhirah, about the Jannah, about, then this is something he must have heard it from the Prophet ﷺ. Because none of the Sahaba would speculate. Unless this Sahabi, listen to this, unless this particular companion had access to the books of the people of the book. Like Abdullah ibn Salam. Abdullah ibn Salam is Sahabi. But he was a rabbi. So if he says something and he didn't say that he heard it from the Prophet ﷺ, we cannot say that this must be heard from the Prophet ﷺ. Why? Because there is a probability he might read it where? He might have read it in the scriptures of the people of the book because he was a rabbi. Are you following? So in that case, we cannot say he must have heard it from the Prophet ﷺ because he had the means of access to the previous books. Are you following? Or like Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, he had a load of books of the people of the scripture. Load. And he was used to read in these books. So if Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said something and he did not say, I heard it from the Prophet, the same thing we cannot say that he heard it from the Prophet ﷺ. Why? Because he used to read the scriptures of the people of the book, so maybe he read it there. Or if Ka'b al-Ahbar. But if this companion, he was not a Jew or a Christian before, and he had no access to the books of the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, then in that case, especially if it talks about the ghaib, the unseen, in that case he must have heard it from the Prophet ﷺ, because none of the Sahaba would speculate and would say things that he did not hear from the Prophet ﷺ. Are you following? Is this clear to you? Yes, it is marfu', but the isnad is not continuous. The isnad, yes, if the isnad is continuous, we have no problem. But the problem, the isnad is continuous up to the Sahabi. So now, here, from the Sahabi, and the Sahabi is not saying that he heard it from the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't say that I heard it or the Prophet said. He didn't. According to the isnad. So that's why they say it is sahih, authentic, up to the Sahabi. Up to the Sahabi. Now, is this something he heard it from the Prophet ﷺ, or something maybe he read it somewhere else? If he had access to the previous scriptures, then yes, there is a possibility. In that case, we cannot say it is marfu'. It will remain mawquf. But if he didn't have, yes, it is marfu'. He must have heard it. Is this clear to you? Sisters, are you following us? Make no animal sacrifice for Allah in a place where sacrifice is made for other than Allah. If the place, people they make sacrifice for other than Allah, don't make sacrifice for Allah in that place. Are you following? People they make sacrifice in a place for other than Allah. Don't make sacrifice for Allah in that place. Make it somewhere else. The statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, لا تقم فيه أبدا لمسجد أسس على التقوى من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه رجال يحبون أن يتطهروا والله يحب المطهرين. Never stand you therein. Verily, the mosque, verily, the masjid, whose foundation was laid from the first day on piety, is more worthy that you stand therein to pray. In it are men who love to clean and purify themselves. And Allah loves those who make themselves clean and pure. Now, this ayah talks about an incident happened. This is called Masjid al-Dirar. The Prophet ﷺ was going on military expedition. The munafiqs, the hypocrites in Medina, they built a masjid. They built what? A masjid, a mosque. Not that they built the masjid or the mosque so that they worship Allah. No. They built it to be a headquarter. So that in this masjid they can plan and plot against the Prophet ﷺ and against his followers. Are you following? That is their intention. And they asked him to come and inaugurate the masjid. See the hypocrites? So come and pray in our masjid. It is a new masjid. The Prophet ﷺ did not know the motive behind it. Why they built the masjid. He didn't know. Prophets and messengers, they don't know the unseen except what God tells them. Only God knows everything. So Allah informs them and tells them. So he told them, okay, when I come back, I will inaugurate the masjid and I will pray in the masjid. But Allah immediately informed and told him, don't go there. Never stay in that masjid. Never stand or pray in that masjid. Because they didn't build it for the sake of worshipping me. They have hidden agenda. Are you following? That is the reason they built this masjid. So never stand, Allah told His Prophet, never stand therein. Because the motive behind building that masjid, not for my sake, not for me. And they want to use your inauguration of the masjid as a camouflage. So then they can do all their plans and plots from that masjid. And Allah exposed them. And the Prophet ﷺ, he sent a group of his companions and they demolished the masjid. They demolished it. They leveled it with the ground. Are you following?